I've taken a decision that I will be joining MK.
Another senior EFF member championship to join the Umkhonto weSizwe party.
I'm joining MK because I believe that it is the vehicle through which we will achieve the much needed black and progressive unity.
The South African lawyer, former businessman and former national chairperson of the Red Berets, Dali Mpofu, is following in the footsteps of former EFF Deputy President Floyd Shivambu.
I am totally convinced that the vehicle that will galvanize all of us together in a quicker fashion is Umkhonto weSizwe.
It is true that there are no permanent enemies in politics, as EFF is losing, hemorrhaging high-profile members to the MK party in droves. Dali Mpofu, the man who was talking, is the latest high-profile figure to defect from Julius Malema's EFF to the MK party led by former President Jacob Zuma. The Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, appear to be on a spiral after another of its high-profile members' defection. So that is what we are going to react to today. My name is Yao Bantu. I do political and social commentary on African and world affairs. Why don't you subscribe and leave your comment below? Now, Dali Mpofu, who is also a lawyer by trade, has moved from one left-leaning progressive party to the next, the MK party led by former President Jacob Zuma. These political parties have similar ideologies. One would say extreme left when it comes to the EFF, while the MK party is not as radical as the EFF, but both of these parties are lefties. They share core principles such as the expropriation of white-owned land without compensation, state ownership of mines and banks and such institutions, pro-choice, and additionally, these political parties are big on identity politics. So that is to say, politics based on, for instance, race, gender, or something like that. In the South African context, they are big on black ownership. The EFF especially, they were big on open border policy. I'm not so sure where the MK stands on open border policy. So essentially, they have the same ideology. Now, Dali Mpofu was an ex-chairman of the EFF and their legal counsel. Mpofu is also a lawyer for MK's leader and former president Jacob Zuma. So there has always been that connection. So maybe we should not be too surprised that he left the EFF for MK party. Certainly, Malema was not surprised with this move, and he said so. Mpofu also made this statement in an interview.
Organizations, by the way, maybe let me take one step back. Something that your viewers might not know is that there was a time when former President Zuma and I were the only people who knew about this project of the formation of MK, because we had discussed after the 2022 conference of the ANC very in depth as to what needs to be done, and we had various options, and so this discussion took about 12 months. So by the time you attended the launch in December of MK, this had been a project that was in the pipeline, in the underground, as he revealed, for about 12 months.
Advocate Mpofu, I just need to get you very clear. So, were you part and parcel of the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe?
Absolutely. For a few months, as I say, there was a time where probably it was just me and former President Zuma who knew about this. And then it moved to a stage where we involved a few other people. In August, we held a meeting with 10 leaders, and you can interview all of them. 10 leaders, and another meeting in October of 2023, including leaders of the EFF, leaders of the PAC, UDM, ATM, Areta. At that time there was an organization like that, and
House, that he was leading then, yeah.
Yes, and the Godi's outfit, the APC.
Yes, APC.
Yes, so all the organizations, Azapo was there. I chaired the meeting of all those leaders and was trying to sell this vision, and President Zuma was present.
Does the EFF know that its member, or now you're no longer the member now, but back then you were the member of the EFF. Do they know that you were central in the formation of another political party?
Yes. No, that fortunately, at my level of political involvement, I cannot play double games. So every step of the way of this project, I was reporting to the EFF leadership.
So, what Dali Mpofu there is basically saying is confirming the long-standing connection with the MK party, to the extent that he said that himself and Jacob Zuma were instrumental in the formation of MK party. He was saying that at some point it was just the two of them. So then, after that organization was formed, why? Nobody knows, but he waited and waited till now to defect to MK party. But other people doubt his story that he was part of the formation of the MK party, or the idea of a separate political party. There is this question of, well, how can you form another political entity while belonging to another? You are either EFF or MK. I think Julius Malema on his EFF podcast called him out about it, and others too have called him out. There seems to be a contentious point that he was actually one of the authors of the idea of a political entity like the MK party.
It's lies. In fact, President Zuma never wanted Dali Mpofu to be part and parcel of the formation of MK party. I'm the one that spoke to him, and I said to him, like, President Zuma, the battle that lies ahead is beyond me and you. And the fact is that we are taking a name that belongs to, that is associated with the ANC. The ANC is going to come to us very hard. So it is best that we involve Dali Mpofu with the processes of the administration and the documentation of MK party, so that when that time actually comes, Dali Mpofu is abreast with what is happening. Besides, SC Dali Mpofu is already doing some of the work for you on pro bono on all of your cases around the country. I requested the two senior counsels that we have a meeting with him and that we try and stop him from registering or going ahead with his party. It was for the first time that the two senior counsels, when they started to know about the formation of MK party.
What was the date there? Do you remember?
It was around August.
So this would be
August, yes.
August 2023?
Yes, 2023.
Dali Mpofu's defection is not an isolated case. He follows that of Malema's deputy, Floyd Shivambu, and two other lawmakers, Mzwanile Mania and Bosisiwe Mkwebane. Of course, Julius Malema's right-hand man, Deputy President Floyd Shivambu, was the biggest shock of them all. It did point to deeper issues and a fallout. Initially, it was all diplomatic, softly, huggy separation. But we all knew that it wasn't going to last. In as much as these men have been in the game for a long time, they know what they're doing, but we all knew that this was just student politics. The gloves were going to come off, and they are definitely off at the moment. This is what Shivambu had to say about his departure from EFF.
Mkhondowezize and the organization, you would see that there's extremely brilliant comrades within Mkhondowezize party, like at all levels. Like in terms of parliamentary caucus, Mkhondowezize has got the best caucus, like as compared to all other caucuses. So the skill set that you find in Mkhondowezize is qualitatively much superior than what you would find in the ANC, than what you would find in the EFF, than what you would find in the DA. And the DA is a team of illiterates. Like, but Mkhondowezize, it's people whom, if you were to say take government tomorrow, they will run government efficiently and without confusion. They're not going to learn as to how government must be run efficiently, responsibly, and in a manner that will impact on the lives of our people much more most positively. But then there was, of course, issues which conjuncturally were lacking of the organizational experience.
Sure.
And the unique organizational experience of how do you found an organization.
Which is something that you've done
so
many
despite
times.
the political experience and depth which characterizes the leadership of Umkhonto weSizwe, none of them have ever been involved in forming an organization. And coincidentally, I had been involved in forming and founding an organization called the Economic Freedom Fighters, and thought that as part of consolidation and safeguarding the progressive forces, we need to participate in Umkhonto weSizwe party, and not for position mongering purposes, but as part of the contributions. The day I decided to not renew my membership of the Economic Freedom Fighters, there was no position that was given to me as to what role I'm going to play in Umkhonto weSizwe party. There was no guarantee that I'm going to sit in the top officials, but I knew that as a member, at least my voice will be heard if we're to say that let's avoid these pitfalls, let's avoid these mistakes that otherwise a new organization might encounter. There are so many mistakes that you can make at formative stages, and some of those mistakes can be terminative of the organization itself.
Absolutely.
And we couldn't afford as a country to have a progressive political formation, which is even official opposition now in parliament, imploding because of avoidable mistakes, which otherwise we could guide each other in avoiding. So they would have thought that the most correct, sound, and best decision was to take the decision to join Umkhonto weSizwe and contribute to its politics. And I'm convinced that this is the correct path and the correct decision that has ever been taken in the history of politics.
Shivambu was a founding member of the EFF, and many believe the brains behind the organization. He was so instrumental in setting up strategy and operations of the party. And looking in from outside, many implied that there was a brotherhood with Malema. But Floyd, however, has recently said no in one of his interviews. He said that it wasn't a brotherhood, it was just a pure political relationship. Nothing more than that, which was a bit surprising that he would say that. And Floyd Shivambu has since been given the high post of Secretary General of the MK Party, a high-profile position indeed. Given that Zuma is an old man and unlikely to contest as president in 3 or 4 years' time, he will be somewhere around 86 years old when the next elections come around. The question is, have all these high-profile members who are jumping ship realized that EFF may not govern at all? Or maybe the better question is, has the EFF gone past its peak? Now, hear me out. Its decline in the latest 2024 May elections suggests so. It seems that it is trending that way. In 2014, the EFF got 6.35% of the national vote. They peaked in 2019 with 10.8%. In 2024, they managed 9.5%, showing a small decline percentage-wise. But the implications on the ground were huge. So what is causing all this? Is there a problem with Julius Malema's leadership style and the way he manages the EFF maybe? Many are predicting that another influential top leader, MP Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, is next in line to join MK Party. And Malema seemingly is actively driving him out. He tweeted that some members' souls are long gone, and netizens deduced that it was a cryptic tweet for Ndlozi, obey, that hey, your time is up, move on. Malema may be banking on the chance to clean house, reset, revitalize the party when they hold their upcoming party conference. That's what he may be looking at. Clean sweep, let's start all over again. Meanwhile, at the MK party camp, it's party time. After all, they got nearly 50% of the vote on their first try in the general elections back in May. having been formed less than 6 months at that time of the May 2024 elections. So they did super well. That was a phenomenal performance. An MK party is on course to become the second largest party and likely to beat the DA and emerge as the most likely to form the government after the ANC. So if you are a politician looking at those figures and you're in a EFF, you'd be tempted to jump ship to a party that has similar values like yours and doing well. At the moment, it just seems that the MK party has more political capital than the EFF, whichever way you look at it. The decline of the ANC is inevitable. You're looking at the trend of politics on the African continent, you're seeing that these liberation movements are in decline and are on their way out. There's no special reason why this is not going to happen to ANC. So then the decline of the ANC is inevitable. I do believe that. And the MK party is likely to take advantage of this rather than the EFF. Now, the upcoming battle in the MK party will be who will replace the aging Zuma. That is the next battle. They'll be posturing for that coveted position. Leave your comments below. Subscribe to African Boss, and my name is Yao Bantu. I'll see you later.